A country with not one, not two, but three capital cities. That's South Africa. Imagine the complexity of governing a country from three different locations. But there's more that sets this country apart. Here's why South Africa's geography is so unique. South Africa, officially called the Republic of South Africa, RSA, is the southernmost country in Africa. It's a country of contrasts, a true kaleidoscope of landscapes that'll leave you in awe. From the rugged coastlines of the Indian and Atlantic Oceans to the rolling hills of the winelands, this place has it all. And let's not forget about these three capital cities, Pretoria, Cape Town, and Bloemfontein. Each one is a unique gem in its own right. Now, I know what you're thinking, but how can a country be so diverse? Well, that's the beauty of South Africa's geography. It's like a giant puzzle, with each piece fitting perfectly to create a masterpiece that'll leave you breathless. South Africa shares borders to the north with Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. If you head to the east and northeast, you'll find Mozambique and Eswatini. There's also a small country called Lesotho right in the middle of South Africa, like a tiny island within the larger nation. Being the southernmost country on the mainland of the Old World, South Africa is also the second most populous country located entirely south of the equator, following Tanzania. It's a land of incredible natural beauty and variety, often referred to as a biodiversity hotspot. It means it has a wide range of different plants and animals, some of which you won't find anywhere else in the world. South Africa also has some truly stunning coastlines, with the Indian Ocean to the southeast and the Atlantic Ocean to the southwest. This country even has two small sub-Antarctic islands, Prince Edward and Marion. These islands are about 1,200 miles southeast of Cape Town, out in the Indian Ocean. South Africa used to have Walvis Bay, a spot on the Atlantic coast about 400 miles north of the Orange River, but in 1994, it became part of Namibia. A huge plateau covers most of South Africa, giving the land a unique look. This plateau is separated from lower surrounding areas by the Great Escarpment, a dramatic rise in the land. The plateau is made up of very old rock, dating back millions of years to the late Carboniferous and late Triassic epochs. The plateau is highest in the east, reaching more than 8,000 feet in the Lesotho region, and slopes down to about 2,000 feet in the sandy Kalahari in the west. The central part of this plateau, the Highveld, sits between 4,000 and 6,000 feet high. You'll find the Great Karoo, another remarkable region south of the Orange River. One of the most breathtaking features in South Africa is the Drakensberg Mountains, part of the Great Escarpment, known locally by various names, including Ukalamba, which means barrier of spears in Zulu, and the natal Drakensberg. These mountains offer some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. The escarpment is so special that it's part of the Ukalamba Drakensberg Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2000. The escarpment stretches southward from the far northeast, where it's called the Transvaal Drakensberg, or Dragon Mountains. In KwaZulu-Natal Province, South Africa's highest point, Jesuthi stands at 11,181 feet. As the escarpment heads south, it forms the boundary between KwaZulu-Natal and Free State provinces, then between KwaZulu-Natal and Lesotho, where the mountains reach nearly 11,000 feet, with peaks like Mount Ox sources. Continuing southwest, the escarpment separates Lesotho from the Eastern Cape province and then runs across the Eastern Cape at lower elevations of 5,000 to 8,000 feet, known as the Stormberg. Further west, it becomes the Nieuweveld Range and the Rogeveld Mountains, making the boundary between the Northern Cape and the Western Cape provinces. Near Mount Bakeveld and Mount Kamies, the escarpment becomes less defined, but still adds to the rugged charm of the landscape. Now, here comes the most interesting part. South Africa has fascinating geographical features, but none of its rivers are commercially navigable. Most river mouths aren't great for harbors because large sandbanks block entry for most of the year. Interestingly, South Africa doesn't have any significant natural lakes. Instead, it relies on artificial lakes mainly used for crop irrigation. The Orange River is South Africa's biggest river. It starts in the Drakensberg Mountains, flows through the Lesotho highlands, and meets the Caledon River between the Eastern Cape and the Free State. Eventually, it empties into the Atlantic Ocean and forms the border with Namibia. There are several other major rivers in the country too: the Vaal, Breed, Komati, Lapel, previously known as Oliphants, Tugela, Umzimvubu, Limpopo, and Malapo rivers are all important water sources that crisscross the landscape. Each of these rivers adds to the diverse and beautiful scenery that South Africa has to offer. South Africa enjoys a subtropical location, with warm, temperate conditions thanks to the oceans on three sides and the altitude of the interior plateau. It's a relatively dry country, averaging about 464 millimeters of yearly rainfall. While the Western Cape gets most of its rain in winter, the rest of the country typically sees rain in the summer. Temperatures in South Africa are usually lower than in other countries in the same latitude, mainly because of the higher elevation. For instance, at 1,694 meters above sea level, Johannesburg experiences average summer temperatures below 86 degrees Fahrenheit. In winter, nighttime temperatures can drop to freezing or even lower in some areas. The coastal regions are warmer in winter than the inland plateau. There's also a noticeable difference between the temperatures on the east and west coasts due to the warm Agulhas current along the east coast and the cold Benguela current along the west coast. This mix of ocean currents and elevation gives South Africa its unique climate. Now, when it comes to population, with over 62 million people, South Africa is one of the most populated countries in the world. It covers a large area, about 471,445 square miles, roughly the size of Texas and California combined. When it comes to its cities, South Africa has 3 capital cities, each with a unique role. Pretoria is where the government does most of its work. Cape Town is where the parliament meets, and Bloemfontein is traditionally seen as the judicial capital. The highest court in the country, the Constitutional Court, is in Johannesburg, which is one of the biggest and busiest cities in South Africa. South Africa is home to more than a dozen national parks, each offering a unique glimpse into the country's diverse wildlife. Kruger National Park is the largest and most famous, located in the Limpopo and Mpumalanga provinces. It's known for its population of rhinoceroses, elephants, and buffalo, along with a wide variety of other animals. In the Eastern Cape province, there's Mountain Zebra National Park, which shelters the endangered mountain zebra. Nearby, Otto Elephant National Park protects a large population of elephants. The Western Cape's Bontebok National Park is home to the endangered bontebok, a type of antelope. Another notable park is Greater St. Lucia Wetland Park in KwaZulu-Natal. It was designated a World Heritage Site in 1999 and provides a safe haven for the Nile crocodile, a large population of hippopotamuses, and many bird species. South Africa allows regulated big game hunting during certain months of the year. Hunters can pursue elephants, white rhinoceroses, lions, leopards, buffalo, and various types of antelope. However, some animals, such as grizzboks, klipspringers, red hartebeests, giraffes, black rhinoceroses, pangolins, and ant bears are specially protected and cannot be hunted. Conservation in southern Africa has been greatly enhanced by creating trans-frontier parks and conservation areas. These link nature reserves and parks across neighboring countries, creating large international conservation zones that protect biodiversity and allow migratory animals to move freely. The Great Limpopo Transfrontier Park is one such example, linking Kruger National Park with Mozambique's Limpopo National Park and Zimbabwe's Gonarazu National Park. Another is the Galagadi Transfrontier Park, which connects South Africa's Kalahari Gensbok National Park with Botswana's Gensbok National Park. So, South Africa's geography is a real treat for nature lovers. To dive into more amazing landscapes, check out this video on the Rocky Mountains.